How long should you wait before you move spots when it comes to yellowtail fishing? Welcome to the Good Karma Sportfishing podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. So, guys, I often get asked how long should I wait before I move spots? Okay, that seems to be the common question. And there's a lot of noise out there, so I'm going to share with you guys, you know, what I was taught and what I still do to this day. So, yellowtail fishing. Um, you have to give it time. Okay. So yellowtail fishing is more of an experience. Okay. And the Keys locals, when I first moved to the Keys, it's really about the experience of going yellowtail fishing. And it's about getting the fish to go, and it's about the camaraderie, about being on the boat and having all these things work together about sandballing and chum and anchoring and the bait, cutting the bait, the flat line process. So there's just a lot. There's a lot to it. So, but the locals like the when you're local yellowtail fishing, it's like it's part of like it's a tradition. It's a Keys tradition. Okay, so that's why there's patience built in. There's patience built into yellowtail fishing, okay? So there's a lot of noise about, oh, you got to wait like if the fish aren't biting in 20 minutes, you got to pull your anchor, you got to leave. Well, 20 minutes isn't like honestly, that's not even enough time to let your bait like thaw out, get working, your chum to start to work, attract in fish. There's a lot to it. So listen, before we even go yellowtail fishing now with clients, I tell them we're probably going to have to wait a good 30 to 40 minutes before we even get the fish going. And there's a process about how the fish work, okay? If we're looking for flags, and typically this is how it works. And if you're going in there and you're waiting 20 minutes, and that's honestly that's not even enough time to get stuff working. So when you get in there, you get yourself anchored, you relax a little bit, you chill out, you get your bait cut, you tie up your leaders. So what you can do is that a lot of guys want to do that at the dock, but typically when you go yellowtail fishing, you know that you're probably going to have to wait 30 to 40 minutes before you get things going. So honestly, you get out there and you just don't do any of that stuff till you get out there and get anchored. Okay. Tie up your leaders. You see what the current's doing first. Okay. Are you going to use a really just a bare hook? Are you going to have to add a jig head? So if you tie on all your jig heads at the dock and you get out there, you don't, and then the current's funky, then you got to retie. So really, you don't do any of that stuff until you get out there. And all the while you're letting the chum work, and then you're shaking the bag. Shake the bag. It's always so fun to say. It's like, shake the bag. Uh, hey Cappy, shake the bag. It's like that. That one goes out to Jeff Perez. Okay. So anyhow, so while you're shaking the bag and yelling at the other guy to shake the bag, then you're ladling out your oats and your magic chum, whatever you're using. A lot of guys are using all this other stuff now, but um, anyhow, keep laughing about shaking the bag because it's like it's oh so true. But okay, so 30 to 40 minutes, you're relaxing, you're chilling out, you're talking with your crew, you're hanging out. And then by the time you get all ready, the time goes by pretty quickly. You look at your clock and you'd be like, oh, okay, we can start putting the line out. So um, that's how it works. So instead of going out there right away, you can just wait. You get out there, you get your leaders all set up. You got to have a pitch rod just in case a cobia sets up. Usually in the month of April, the cobias will swim up to your chum slicks on the reef. So that's typically when I catch my big cobias. The they'll swim up to the chum bag in the month of April, and then you just catch them out of the chum bag. So or the yellow jacks will be in there as well, really big yellow jacks. So I wanted to this is kind of a process because the yellow jacks will show up and then you'll be like, oh, the yellow jacks are there, the yellow jacks are there. So the secret to catching those big jacks, they won't even touch your free line more than likely. So you don't want them to see you. They can see you if they get really close. So um, typically just take a white piece of chum out of your bag and then send that back and you'll catch them. And that's what they're eating. They're in there eating the chum. So you want to pick a piece of nasty white chum out, put it on the hook, and then you want to back up further in your boat. Get way back there, so they don't see you, or you get really low, um, duck down, and then start free lining. Or you put a water stream up in front of your face and try to do that style. That's fun to do. That's a new rig on we got on my boat where I shoot up a water stream and you try to block your silhouette. That's kind of fun. So it's all these yellowtail fishing. That's what yellowtail fishing is. It's like you're trying to fool those fish, and that's what you take the time to do. Okay. So the process goes, it's all these different baits and stuff you got to try because then they're going to turn off a bait and all this stuff. And then you're like, got all that stuff. You're trying to figure it out. Then you'll catch a few and your big fish don't typically show up into the chum until a good hour or two into the process. So they'll show up either right away or they'll show up at the end. You're going to work through different variety of sizes when it comes to those fish, and that's why you have to have patience. Anywhere up and down South Florida, you're going to have the yellowtail, or anywhere you have yellowtails, all the way up to like up the coast of Florida, Miami. It's really about just getting your chum in, getting the patience. Don't wait 20 minutes. Like if you're like up off of like the just use key style fishing up, up off of Boca. Lots of yellowtails there. If you're coming in with like a 5 pound block of chum, change it up. Go key style, 25-pound block. Give it a good 45 minutes. Chum in those fish, get them going. Approach it like that, and then watch what happens. Okay, especially during the month of April. Your baits, as far as the baits go, like what's fun is casting small little live pilchards into those. You can like same way you can chum in those yellowtails just like you chum tunas. You can throw out a scoop of small chummers and then you throw free line a small pilchard on a small live bait hook right after that. So the trick is to when you're waiting all that time is to what I like to do is I like to stage a pilcher down a little deep, free line him out, hold him down deeper, and then you'll get bit and you got just like tunas, you got a deep line that gets bit and then you throw out the other two on top and then voila, you got a bunch of giant flags. So you can also if you got a guy that's kind of impatient, you give him a little mirror lure or something, let him start ripping that out there. And those small little mirror lures are great for catching active yellowtails, so there's little silver mirror lures. So that's something you can do as well when you're killing the time, let people cast. But the one rule of thumb that it always comes back to is one line at a time. One line at a time when it comes to tails. Big tails. You can shut a school off really easily. Prove it time and time again. If you got a guy that's being impatient, you put his line down on the bottom, you have one guy free line and you just alternate. So it gets tired, he catches another one. And you just kind of rotate around and that's how it goes. And sometimes you get them balled up at the boat, you can cane pole them, and that's my favorite way to do it. It's the cast into the ball. So, but yeah, so you can use there's all these different tricks, and that's what's so fun about spending the time with them. Okay. You can free line a big squid, you can free line a big piece of chunk of bonito. One of the things that really like for myself is that as you're waiting and you got a big bonito, one of the things that really gets them going is to rip out the guts of that bonito and then what you'll find is those big, like you're not getting a bite, and then those big flags are hanging out right underneath those your smaller school, and they're down on the bottom. And when you send a an intestine of a bonito down, just what happens, especially in the month of April when you got all that you'll have filefish and all that shit. They'll be destroying you. It's all the process, you know. You get a shark, and that's part of the story is trying to avoid the shark and the cudas and all that stuff. And that's yellowtail fishing. That is the experience of going tail fishing. And that's all adds to the challenge of it. That's what I really like is that. Just there's a whole story there. And if you're coming down or you're fishing anywhere for yellowtails, you get some good bait, you get some live bait, little pilchards, small ballyhoos work very well anywhere up and down the coast, anywhere, not just the Keys. So you apply that anywhere, and it, like you said, and it will work. It will work. And in areas where guys aren't really doing it seriously, if you take some of these tactics and do it, like in zones where guys really are not like into like wreck fishing for big yellowtails or fishing live bottom for yellowtails, and you apply that, watch what happens. Watch, especially during the month of April, because there are some big yellowtails that are going to happen, and if you apply these techniques, get those right baits. Like I said, if you're coming down to the Keys, we got the pilchards now at Tavernier Creek Marina, or you can catch, like I said, you can go and you can net baits up and down the coastline now. Glass minnows were good, but what it really comes down to is time. And like I said, the biggest myth is that if you wait 20 minutes, you're missing out on the whole experience of yellowtail fishing because it takes 45 minutes to sometimes an hour. And that time in between that time is the time if you're just sitting there waiting with your chum bag sitting in the water, you're not like that is not tail fishing. That is not tail fishing at all. You got to get the slick going. You got to everybody's involved with it. You got to get baits on the bottom. You got to get everything going. Okay? So if you're fishing with someone that says, "Oh, they're not biting, it's 20 minutes," and then you're going to move and you're going to have to start it all over again, that's a waste. That's wasteful. That is wasteful. Okay? Put in the time, do your research on the spots. The spot, like yellowtail fishing, you want people around you fishing because that builds the area. If you're going in an area where the fish just haven't been fed, eh, eh. So I like to share yellowtail spots because that way the fish stay fed, they stay hungry, they stay in the area, and that's really how it works. So it's the keys process. It works. Then you have to build spots and keep things moving. And the more you fish an area, the better the spot gets. The more you chum an area, the better the spot gets. It's just how it works. So, especially in known spawning areas up and down the Keys, up and down Florida, South Florida, um, wherever there's yellowtail fishing. So, um, yeah. And then in the Bahamas, man, they're catching them on big plugs, like you're throwing top water plugs. So that's something you can try here. You know, guys do catch them on poppers. You know, throw the popper way back, and how they put wire on them and they catching monsters. So I'll give that a try. I haven't done it. I'm always afraid somebody's going to hit somebody in the eye or something like that. So we don't do much popper fishing anymore. So I'm just kidding. Anyhow, yeah, give it more than 20 minutes. Enjoy the experience of going yellowtail fishing. Okay? That's what it's all about. It's in the end, it's about sharing the moments with your friends, um, being patient, having a good time. Then you can get into the mutton snapper fishing while you're doing that, figuring out the leader links. And if you want to get dialed in on how I'm doing my leader links, and this is where I'm going to say you can tune out if you don't want to listen, because that's all I got. But if you really want to learn more about what I'm doing as far as the leader links go this season, I've built a new course and I'm doing this course a little bit differently. as well along the way. So I'm super excited because what I'm doing now is 100% changed from the last course I had with mutton snapper fishing. So the guys in the course got to hear the gear changes as well in the first module, and I'm getting ready this week. We got the Q&A. Super excited. We're going to be going over some spots as well, and everybody thinks it's about the spots, but it's not really about the spots. So fish have fins, they swim, and yeah. So, but I'm going to share some secrets about that. Uh, Yeah, so that's out now. You can go to goodkarmafishingtackle.com. We're in the process right now, 8 weeks. We do a lesson, then we have a Q&A where you get to ask questions, okay? Which is very unique. You get to ask questions and you can utilize that. Utilize the Q&A. That's what I tell guys. So that turns into a lesson in itself if the right questions are asked. Okay. Booking a charter with me, you can email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram, Good Karma Sportfishing _FL _keys. And I'm going to leave you with this one little reminder. Enjoy the experience of being out there. Enjoy the time between the bites with your friends and family. That's what yellowtail fishing is all about. And having patience. I can tell you what, if you don't have patience, this is the wrong sport for you. And you're gonna have good days, but you're going to have a lot more bad days. So a lot more, I mean, there is no bad days out there, but you're going to have a lot more days of getting your ass kicked. And with the sheer amount of people that are fishing out there right now, you got to stay on top of the changes because the spots you've been fishing since you were a kid and those areas, everybody knows about them and you got to continue. It's not about like the fish haven't gone anywhere. It's about making subtle changes to get the bites. Okay. That's it. Simple as that. So, and the guys that are good are making those changes, they're getting the bites. And what you're using 2 years ago, yeah, it'll work. But next time you go out, it may not. That's all I got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.